What's up YouTube? Today, TheGrayingTech is going to talk about what happens when you use your own personal account to promote your employer's social media and then you want to start your side gig. Because I made that mistake and hopefully you won't. Alright, so I got 4 tips for you today and a few bonus items just thrown in for the fun of it. And this is bonus tip number 1. Don't. Just do not promote your employer's stuff with your own personal account. You're not paid for it, you're not compensated for it, and I've even heard businesses and employers wanting people to use their own LinkedIn accounts to promote the company itself. That is your account. You shouldn't be promoting your own employer unless you feel comfortable doing so. If you are going to do this, start a different social media account. Yes, it's likely to have fewer followers, it's less likely to be viral and engaging in nature, but at least you're gonna have your personal stuff separated from your business stuff. Okay, so obviously there are gonna be a lot of people who just can't do that. Your ability to do multiple social media accounts is just not there, and that's fine. You don't have to separate your accounts, but you do need to take some precautions. So the tip number 1, get social media trained. My company offers social media training. In fact, the last 4 companies I have worked for have all offered some kind of PR, media, and social media training. Why is this important? It legally protects the company and it legally protects you to some degree from abuse, from misrepresentation, from all kinds of things. So it is a CYA checklist kind of item, but at the same time, a good one of these courses is going to teach you some things that you might not have known. They're not just going to say, this is Twitter, and this is how you post, this is YouTube, this is how you post. I hate those kind of training courses. They are never effective, and the majority of training people know that those are not effective. So they avoid doing that kind of content anyways. They're going to come in and say, hey, did you know about TweetDeck? Did you know that you can set up schedules for your tweets? Did you know that you can include videos and text and GIFs? And here's how you can do that. Here's another application that allows you to view all of your tweets and respond to them over multiple different channels and multiple different accounts. That's the kind of stuff that a social media training course should actually teach you and will help you grow your own personal channel as well as properly promote your employer and their brand. Okay, tip number 2, 90-10. You see this a lot on Reddit, on a lot of the rules and things of that nature, where they basically say 90% of your content should be one way, 10% is allowed to be another. Most of the time that is 10% is stuff that you've created, 90% is stuff that somebody else has created. That way you're not on there just blasting your own stuff the entire time. You're actually trying to engage with the community. In this instance, it should be 90% of your stuff is personal, 10% is about your employer. Now, if your employer is doing some really awesome stuff and you want to promote that and you really want to push because you're really excited to be involved with it, consider a separate account. Consider that an opportunity to kind of piggyback with your employer with a separate account, separate engagement, just like the bonus tip. But if you do want to combine it a little bit, you're going to have to be 9 times as more impactful with your personal stuff as you are with your business or employer related items. So you're gonna have to work even harder if you have gone down this route to make sure your personal stuff is still getting as much airtime as possible. Okay, bonus tip number 2, be authentic. Nobody, but nobody, wants to see somebody being a shill on YouTube or being a shill on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. It is very off-putting when people know how you engage and see you when you're promoting your employer be very stiff and very effective in your communication pattern, right? That's not authentic. And people can get that vibe and they'll probably wonder, well, was they forced to do this content? Did they really mean what they said? Are they really excited to work for them? Or in fact, are they just kind of being made to do this? So bonus tip number 2, just try to be authentic with all of your posts, personal and employer related. Number 3, use cattags. Try to avoid putting too much of your employer information in your personal profile. Now, in certain places, I know that is difficult. They really don't have hashtags, like Reddit doesn't really use hashtags, right? And so A lot of social media training is going to tell you when you are publishing and it is related to your employer, you need to be transparent. You need to make sure that people know who you are working for. My employer has a wonderful hashtag. It's called I work at, if you watched my last video, you should know, never say your employer's name. I wonder how many of you I got with that one. But it's a great hashtag. It's very useful on social media. It allows you to establish that transparency that, hey, I actually work for this company, and at the same time, it creates kind of a little mini community of all of the people that work for that employer promoting the stuff that the employer is doing. And that leads to that authenticity. If that many people really are excited about it, it's not just the PR and marketing team, it's several people. And a lot of times you get engineers, you get people in sales, you get people just completely not associated with that product at all, promoting it on social media because they want to. And that's the exact kind of stuff that an employer really wants from their employees. Genuine, authentic excitement. All right, so let's say that you're like me and you've already messed up. What do you do now? No, seriously, I need the feedback. You have to start over. Unfortunately, that is kind of the name of the game for me at this point. I've had to start a different Reddit account. I've had to start a different Instagram, a different Twitter, and a different YouTube channel. My previous account was so associated with my employer that trying to reuse it and repurpose it would have been nigh impossible, it seemed. So if you're in my situation, you're gonna have to start over, or you have to scrub all of your personal content of what your employer, of posts that were about your employer. You need to disassociate, remember tips from last week, disassociate a side gig from your main employer kind of activities. You need to have that clear separation and that clear level of transparency in order to be authentic, as well as to get above kind of the bare minimum that a lot of social media training is going to teach you about. There are some level of liability and there is some level of responsibility when it comes to promoting your employer's stuff. And if you go off on your own trying to build a side project, you cannot associate those two together. You have to maintain that separation for the sake of both companies, really. So that's what I have for you this week. Have you started your own personal account and posted for your employee only to regret it later? If so, drop a comment down below. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.